The twin suns over Callion Prime were just dipping below the jagged obsidian cliffs when everything changed for Zara Vex. She was sitting at the edge of the old dock, her boots dipped into the cold, algae-stained lake water, a worn satchel by her side. She'd just completed her third delivery of the weak plasma cores, nothing unusual, and was finally catching her breath. She didn't know she was being watched. Or that, by nightfall, the entire galaxy would know her name. It started with a pulse, a sharp, burning throb in her left arm. Then her vision flickered, like a static glitch in a holoscreen. For a second, she thought it was exhaustion. Then the fire spread, twisting up through her veins like liquid heat. She gritted her teeth and dug her nails into the dock's rotting wood, trying not to scream. It passed. But something had changed. When she looked down, glowing symbols had appeared on her skin, shifting, living, like they were etched into her blood. Ancient, pulsing red. Before she could panic, a deafening whir split the sky. A dropship, black, silent, armored to hell, descended fast. Too fast. She grabbed her satchel and ran. Zara didn't understand what was happening, but her instincts screamed one thing: run or die. The ship touched down. The grass beneath it sizzled into ash. A squad of enforcers poured out, faceless in reflective chrome helmets. Not locals. Not Callion Prime's useless marshals. These were off-worlders. Trained, lethal, and moving like they'd done this 100 times. They were here for her. She didn't wait to find out why. Zara ducked into the ravine behind the water plant, sliding through mud and garbage until she hit the access tunnel. She'd used it before to smuggle things. But now, it was her only hope. She raced through the darkness, her breath ragged, the glowing veins on her arm lighting the way. That's when the voice crackled through her comm. Zara Vex. You don't know me, but if you want to live, turn left at the next junction. She froze. Now, Zara. With no better option, she turned. The tunnel opened into a maintenance shaft. A figure stood at the far end, a man, tall, unarmed, wearing a weathered coat marked with a symbol she didn't recognize. He nodded once. I'm Kai. You've got something inside you they'll kill to get. We don't have time. She didn't trust him. But she followed. They emerged in the lower hangar district. Kai moved like a ghost, ducking patrols, disabling sensors with a flick of his wrist. He knew the city like the back of his hand. She had no idea how or why. They stopped behind a wall of stacked crates. From here, she could see the enforcers tearing through the district. Civilians being questioned. Scanners humming. Something big was going down. Kai turned to her. You have human DNA. Real. Untouched. Pure. That doesn't exist anymore. Not since the cleansing wars. That's impossible. I was born on Balto Minor. My mother was probably hiding, just like you're going to have to now. Zara's heart thudded. Human DNA? She'd heard stories, like bedtime fairy tales. The original species. Gone for centuries. Killed off when the Great Purge eliminated the last Earth colonies. But I'm not fully. Kai looked her in the eye. You are. And your blood carries markers that can trigger ancient tech even the Confederacy can't replicate. That's why they want you. To use me. To dissect you. They reached his transport. It looked like junk, a rusted freighter with mismatched panels and a half-functional core. But it had one thing that mattered: it could fly. As they took off, Zara looked down at the planet shrinking beneath them. She wasn't just a courier anymore. She wasn't just Zara Vex. She was the key to something much bigger. Kai plugged coordinates into the nav system. We're heading to the Alaris belt. There's someone there who can explain what's happening to you. A gene scientist who's been off-grid for decades. If anyone can figure out how you exist, it's her. Why help me? He didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice was low. Because I lost everything when Earth fell. And if you really carry what I think you do, this could change everything. The ride was rough. Interference storms lit up the shields with every jump. Zara kept staring at her arm, watching the glowing marks shift, form, vanish. It felt like something inside her had woken up. Something old. Something angry. Kai caught her staring. They'll keep tracking you. That signal in your DNA, it pings every ancient satellite, every half-dead AI core scattered across the galaxy. You're basically a flare in the dark. So what do I do? Hide forever? No. We fight. They landed on an ice-covered rock in the Alaris belt. No cities. No life signs. Just a dome half buried in snow. A woman met them at the entrance. She was tall, lean, with a face like carved steel and eyes that didn't blink. Her name was Dr. Rel. Former Confederacy biogeneticist. Wanted for crimes against sentience. You brought her, she said to Kai. You idiot. Zara bristled. I'm right here. You shouldn't be. If the Confederacy finds you here, they'll glass this moon. Then tell me what I am. Rel scanned her. The room filled with holographic strands of code, DNA spirals, gene maps. She stared at the results in silence. It's true, she whispered. You're not just human. You're first gen. And there's something else. What? You're bonded to a failsafe. It's inside your blood. Nanotech woven into your genome. Something ancient. She paused, eyes wide. It's Earth's final weapon. Zara blinked. Weapon? I'm not. You were never meant to live. You were meant to awaken. Kai tensed. What kind of weapon? Rel turned to him slowly. One that can either reboot Earth's lost systems or destroy the Confederacy from the inside. Zara stepped back. Her chest tightened. You're saying I could end the war? Rel looked grim. I'm saying everyone will try to use you to do exactly that. A sudden blast shook the dome. The lights flickered. Kai grabbed his blaster. They found us. Zara felt it then, something crackling in her bones, humming in her chest. Not fear. Power. Then let them come. Zara didn't flinch as the dome shook again. Ice fell from overhead beams. The alarms began a low, pulsing wail that drilled into her ears. She grabbed the satchel she hadn't let go of since Galactic Prime, and her legs started moving before her brain did. Kai was already in motion, sliding across the slick floor, pulling Rel by the arm. Emergency tunnel, he snapped. Too late, Rel hissed. They're jamming the exits. Zara turned to her. Then what do we do? Rel looked at her for one long second, then nodded. Plan B. A panel opened in the back wall, revealing a narrow chute lit with old, flickering blue lights. Storage corridor, Rel said. It links to the excavation chamber. If they're tracking your DNA, we bury your signal under 1,000 tons of scrap. Let's move. They descended into the shaft, Kai covering the rear. Behind them, the air shuddered with the sound of impact, metal boots landing, shouting in a language Zara didn't recognize. As they entered the excavation chamber, Zara blinked against the blinding light. The space was enormous, layers of ancient debris stacked like a graveyard. Smashed satellites, rusted engine cores, broken hulls of ships older than Confederacy records. What is this place? She asked. Artifacts from before the purge, Rel said. We've been digging for anything that might still hold data. Now it's your sanctuary. Zara didn't feel safe. Her arm was glowing again, more intense than before. It wasn't just pain this time, it was drawing her somewhere. She walked past heaps of junk, pulled by instinct alone. Zara, Kai warned. Wait, she said. I feel something. She stepped toward a monolith in the center of the chamber, a slab of obsidian-like material, humming faintly, almost alive. As she approached, her glowing veins pulsed in sync with it. Oh stars, Rel muttered. It's syncing with her. Zara reached out. The second her fingers touched the stone, a ripple spread through the air like heat off a reactor core. A map exploded into her mind, planets, systems, beacons. But deeper than that, she felt a consciousness. Watching her. It spoke. Not in words, but in memory. She saw a blue planet shattering. She saw ships falling like rain. She saw a code, a genetic sequence locked in blood. Her blood. And then, she saw something else. A station. Hidden. Waiting. Her knees buckled. Kai caught her before she hit the ground. What happened? There's a place, she said through clenched teeth. I think it was made for me. Rel paled. The Ark. It's real. What's the Ark? The last fallback system Earth built before it died. A station filled with weapons, data, maybe even survivors in cryo. But it was myth until now. Kai looked grim. If that's what's calling to her, the Confederacy can't get there first. Suddenly, the wall behind them exploded. Shards of steel and ice rained down. Enforcers stormed in, their rifles humming. Zara didn't think. Her body reacted. She raised her arm and the symbols burned. A wave of force erupted outward. The soldiers were flung back like leaves in a hurricane. Rel stared at her, stunned. That wasn't tech. That was you. Zara didn't understand it either. But the pain in her chest was gone, replaced by something new. Confidence. Kai yanked open a service hatch. We have to move now. We're going dark. The escape route took them deep underground. Rel patched into a blackline network to hijack a stealth transport buried beneath the dome. Inside the craft, Kai and Zara sat opposite each other, the hum of the ship wrapping around them like a heartbeat. What's happening to me? She asked. He exhaled. Your DNA's not just human. It's laced with something pre-purge. Designed to interface with systems no one's been able to crack for centuries. That monolith, your blood unlocked it. Zara looked down at her glowing skin. I don't want to be a weapon. Then you better take control before someone else does. Rel leaned in from the cockpit. We're heading to Volaris. That's where the next marker is. The Ark left breadcrumbs. They're hidden in ancient tech all across the outer reaches. Zara nodded slowly. She didn't understand all of it. But the pull inside her hadn't faded. If anything, it had grown stronger. When they reached Volaris, the planet was in chaos. Protesters filled the streets. A curfew had been imposed. The Confederacy had already arrived. Kai guided them through back alleys and service shafts. They posed as traders, then as medics. But none of it mattered. Zara's presence triggered the tech again. This time it was an old tower, abandoned since the Pulse Wars. When she entered, it lit up like it had been waiting. Inside was another shard of the map. This one clearer. It showed the Ark's orbit. A dead star. A set of coordinates hidden within layers of encrypted code. They never expected anyone to survive long enough to find this, Rel whispered. But someone else had. The trap sprung just as they left the tower. A gunship dropped into view, blocking their exit. A man stood on the ramp. Tall. Dark armor. Face exposed. General Vaughn, Kai muttered. Confederate Black Ops. Vaughn smiled coldly. You have something that belongs to the Confederacy. Zara stepped forward. You mean me? Your DNA carries legacy codes meant for military access. Old war tech. Weapons that could reshape the power balance. You're not a person. You're a relic. She stared him down. Then you'll have to kill me to take it. No, Vaughn said. I'll make you want to give it. Before anyone could react, he triggered a pulse that knocked Kai and Rel to the ground. Zara fell too, but her body pushed back. The symbols on her skin flared, rejecting the interference. She stood, shaking, and launched a burst of raw energy at the gunship. It tore through the shielding, forcing it to retreat. She grabbed Kai and Rel, and they fled into the Undercity. Safe for now, they holed up in an abandoned med facility. Rel set up a firewall to mask Zara's DNA signal. Kai looked at her, breathing hard. You saved us. Again. I didn't know I could. Rel smiled faintly. You're learning. The Ark systems are linking with you. Each key you unlock gives you more control. Zara clenched her fists. Then we keep going. We find the Ark. We stop the Confederacy. Kai touched her shoulder. This path doesn't end in safety. You know that, right? It doesn't have to. It just has to end with the truth. Outside, the galaxy was waking up. Systems were pinging with ancient signals. Factions were moving. And in the darkness of deep space, something else stirred. The Ark wasn't sleeping. It was waiting. The stolen ship drifted silent and lightless through the outer rim of the dead Halo system, hiding among shattered moons and drifting husks of ancient battles. Inside, Zara paced the narrow cabin, her nerves coiled tight. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that vision, the arc pulsing with dormant power, whispering through bloodlines long erased. The memory was branded into her like a second heartbeat. She was close. Too close. Kai entered the cabin, tossing a ration bar onto the table. Eat. You've been running on fumes since Volaris. Zara didn't touch it. He's tracking us. Van. He's not going to stop. Kai sat down across from her. I've gone dark before. They can't see us unless you activate more ancient tech. That's what pings their satellites. She hesitated. And the next piece of the map? Rel's voice came through the comms. Buried beneath the Sulon grave. I've decoded enough of the sequence to trace it. But there's a problem. Let me guess, Kai muttered. Sulon's quarantined. And patrolled. Heavily. Zara leaned over the nav screen. We'll sneak in. Like before. Rel replied dryly. The last time we snuck in, half a city exploded. Yeah, Zara said, half smiling. But we survived. Sulon was a planet-wide junkyard. Long ago, it had been the core shipyard of Earth's final fleet. Now it was nothing but rust and ruin. Enforcers swarmed its orbital stations, and the planet's surface was a maze of collapsed metal, broken mechs, and forgotten weapons. They dropped low into the atmosphere, flying beneath the grid. A camo cloak flickered over the ship as they navigated dense wreckage. Zara could feel it again, like gravity twisting toward a hidden point. The Ark had buried its breadcrumbs deep, and this one was pulling at her bones. They landed in a crevice between what looked like two shattered cruisers fused by time and impact. We're close, Rel said, scanning. The next shard is beneath an old Earth command module. If it's still intact, we'll find more than just coordinates. We might find answers. They moved carefully. The ground was unstable, every step echoing through ancient bones of dead machines. Kai took the lead, eyes scanning the shadows. Zara followed, her blood pulsing with that same familiar energy. Every now and then, it flared just enough to light their path. They found the module buried under a collapsed hangar. Zara approached it first, placing her hand on the corroded metal. The symbols on her skin flared. The rust peeled away with a hiss. The door unsealed. Inside, lights flickered to life, and a holographic interface bloomed from the center console. The air was stale, but breathable. A recorded voice crackled to life. This is Commander Lyra Trent. Final entry. The Ark is not a weapon. It's a sanctuary. But it will defend itself. If you're hearing this, you're one of us. Activate the bridge. Find the source. Protect it. Kai exhaled. The Ark's more than a bunker. It's alive. Rel accessed the console, fingers flying. This log confirms it. The Ark is orbiting a dead star on the edge of the void curtain. We can triangulate the jump. But once we go there, we're beyond the reach of normal space. Zara stared at the hologram. Commander Trent had her eyes. The same sharp line of the jaw. Could she be? Zara, Kai said gently. We have to go. But as they turned, a sharp whistle pierced the air. They froze. A dart embedded in Rel's shoulder. She staggered, then collapsed. Out of the shadows, a squad emerged, silent, fast, unlike anything they'd faced. Not enforcers. Hunters. No insignias. No IDs. Just black armor and red visors. Kai fired first. Zara dropped to her knees, dragging Rel behind cover. Energy bolts lit the chamber in streaks of white and gold. She screamed. Not out of fear, but fury. And something answered. Her body arced with energy. The chamber walls vibrated. Panels lifted. A column rose from the floor, spinning with old Earth glyphs. The hunters paused. She's activating it, one hissed. Kill her now. But it was too late. Zara slammed her palm against the column. The room exploded in light. Gravity inverted. For a second, she was floating, her body stretched across time. She was the map now. Images flooded her mind. The Ark, its orbit, its codebase, its defenses. And one more thing, something the others hadn't seen. A prison. Buried at the Ark's core. And inside it, another like her. When the light faded, the hunters were gone. Vaporized. The column sank back into the floor. Rel gasped as consciousness returned. Kai touched Zara's shoulder. What did you see? She looked at him, pale and shaking. The Ark's not empty. Someone's waiting inside. They raced back to the ship. Rel ran diagnostics from the med bay while Kai checked their orbit vector. Zara stood alone in the viewing deck, staring into the stars. Her reflection in the glass looked alien. Skin lit from within. Eyes faintly glowing. She wasn't the courier from Galactic Prime anymore. You okay? Kai asked, stepping beside her. I don't know what I am. He didn't try to answer. Just stood with her. Back there, she said quietly, I saw another person. In stasis. Deep inside the Ark. They were like me. Maybe older. Maybe original. But they were still alive. Then we wake them up. And if they're dangerous? Kai smiled faintly. So are you. Rel returned with grim news. The coordinates are locked behind a cryptographic seed. One more key. One more site. Then we can jump. Where to next? Zara asked. Rel hesitated. Not where. Who? The last piece is inside someone. A genetic descendant from Earth's final ship. And they're being held in a Confederacy black vault. Kai's face hardened. You mean Titan's Reach? That's a death trap. Zara nodded. Then we break in. The ship powered up, shields humming, engines hot. In the dark corridors of the Confederacy's inner circles, alarms were being raised. Commands given. Hunters dispatched. Because somewhere in the dead of space, a ghost from Earth's past was waking up. And her blood was no longer a secret. It was a countdown. Titan's Reach was a fortress carved into the spine of a dead asteroid, buried beneath electromagnetic storms and sensor-dampening fields. No one broke in. No one escaped. It wasn't designed for war. It was designed for secrets. And Zara Vex was going to tear it open. Their ship coasted in dark, under power silence, hitching a ride beneath a Confederate supply hauler. The closer they got, the more her body reacted, each mile tightening something inside her like a cord drawn to snap. Rel adjusted the nav for final approach. We get 10 minutes once inside the perimeter. No alarms, no errors. Kai loaded his gear with sharp, practiced efficiency. If the last DNA shard is inside a prisoner, we find them fast and we get out faster. Zara nodded, but her mind wasn't on the plan. It was on the echo she'd felt in the Ark's vision. That person, another like her, still asleep, still waiting. A living piece of a puzzle that had started long before she was born. The ship breached Titan's outer layer undetected, docking with a maintenance port. Their suits adapted instantly to the low oxygen environment as they slipped through the dark corridors. Titan was silent, but not empty. Rel led them to the archive deck, bypassing doors with relic codes buried in her neural drive. Zara's skin flared as they passed each checkpoint, a soft glow lighting the path like the Ark was guiding her. In the heart of the complex, they found him. The prisoner was wired to a cryo core, suspended mid-air, tubes feeding into his arms, a biometric cipher embedded in his chest. He looked human. Young. Peaceful. Zara stepped forward. This is him, Rel confirmed. Designation, Aegis 9. He's a clone, Earth's final safeguard. Programmed to unlock the last seed. Kai watched the monitors. We've got movement. Patrols converging. Zara touched the cipher. It recognized her instantly. The final map piece activated, shooting into her bloodstream like fire. The last lock opened. The Ark's coordinates assembled in her mind, a precise jump through unstable space to a sector long forgotten. She turned to Kai and Rel. Get him aboard. We're going. Now. Their escape was chaos. Sirens screamed as automated defenses kicked in. Kai carried Aegis 9 on his back while Rel flooded the security grid with phantom signatures. Zara cleared the path, her abilities now more controlled waves of energy bending light, melting doors, and disarming drones. When they launched from Titan's reach, the Confederate ships followed. But the Ark answered first. A ripple of gravitational force bent reality around their ship. They vanished. The Ark floated in orbit around a collapsed star, invisible to most sensors, locked in a gravity well so precise only her DNA could trigger entry. It opened like a flower as they approached. Zara stepped onto its surface with Kai beside her, Rel and Aegis 9 following behind. Lights flared along their path, systems reawakening after centuries of silence. Inside, it was not cold metal and code. It was life. A jungle bloomed within the Ark's core. Artificial skies. Rivers. Cities built in spirals of glass and green. Preserved knowledge. Art. Culture. And beneath it all, systems. Weapons. Shields. Engines powered by forgotten science. And stasis pods. Thousands. Humans. Real ones. Preserved from Earth's final exodus. Zara dropped to her knees, overwhelmed. She hadn't just been a target. She'd been a key to an Ark full of sleeping ancestors. She stood slowly, her eyes on the central console. The system recognized her. Commander Zara Vex, a voice said. Welcome home. The command prompt blinked. ***, wake them, ***. She looked at Kai. They've waited long enough. Her hand hovered, and pressed the control. The pods began to open. One by one. Gentle release. No alarms. No fear. Only life returning. Rel gasped. Kai smiled faintly. Aegis 9 opened his eyes. Zara stepped back. The Confederacy won't let this stand. Then we protect them, Kai said. We defend this. We start over. In the following weeks, the Ark became more than a relic. It became a beacon. Ships came. Refugees. Survivors. Dissidents. Not all were human, but all were welcomed. The Ark's AI adapted. Its systems learned. And under Zara's leadership, it grew into something else. A new beginning. Not a war machine. Not a weapon. A home. Zara stood at the observation deck, looking out over the reclaimed skies. Aegis 9 trained with Kai. Rel led research into pre-purge tech. The future was unwritten, finally. The Confederacy didn't attack. Maybe they knew the truth now. That if they did, they wouldn't be fighting a girl with strange DNA. They'd be fighting Earth itself. Moral ***. Sometimes, what we carry isn't a curse, it's a choice. Zara had the power to destroy. But she chose to build. To awaken not for vengeance, but for hope. In a galaxy obsessed with control, she chose freedom. And that changed everything.